financial question I'll ask. A young person, young entrepreneur earning some money, revenues coming in, right? Now, one side is you invest to grow your money. The other side is I have aspirations. I want that new phone, the new car, and the new thing. And the 20s won't come back. This is the time that you really want to fulfill your dreams. You have a girlfriend, and that's also part of life. So what are there any numbers or any standardizations you can give them? Like, okay, money comes in, you invest this much, from whatever comes out of that you spend, or something, some guidelines there?
Definitely. See, in any business, discipline is very important. So a lot of mistake that is done by businesses, whether it is a startup or SME, is that they do not differentiate between their personal expenses and their business expenses. So as a business owner, we should always take our fixed salary every month. And part of this fixed salary should be invested, and a part of that should be spent on a...
How much part?
So it depends on person to person. So
but what would you suggest as a
So if I am earning 50,000 rupees per month and I'm having a household expenditure of 5,000 rupees, so I can invest 10,000 rupees in my mutual funds, and I can keep 10,000 rupees for my luxury needs or my friend outings or something like that.
Okay. Is there something you would like to talk about in this regard in terms of compounding effect?
Yeah, definitely. If we start early investment, so I remember from a personal example. So I joined KPMG in 2011, and I started investing in mutual funds from day one, from my first salary itself. And by the time I got married after 5 years, so that money was just double. So whatever I invested in those 5 years, it got doubled, and I could take an international destination for my honeymoon. So that may inspire you to invest in mutual funds. Yeah.
Nice.
Proji, as an entrepreneur, and you have been a serial entrepreneur, you have seen how startups work in Silicon Valley, and that the same thing is being replicated in India, and you have been a strong enabler of startup ecosystem over here. So what do you think the current scenario wherein these startups, are they going in the right direction in India, or like are there only few of them which are doing really something good and rest of them are just wasting their time, energies or something? So what are your views on that?
Startups is the new hot thing, so everybody wants to do it, but it's tough and it's not for everyone. But having said that, everybody who gets in this exercise of doing a startup benefits more than actually almost like an MBA or more than an MBA class, because you learn so much from recruiting to investing to prototyping to getting the right team members, all kinds of experiences. So even if the startup fails, the person is going to be a better employee when he goes for a job. And I see many of them, many failed entrepreneurs who make excellent employees and are getting paid better than their peers because of that experience they had. So there is no loss in the process. Having said that, not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur because it's just painful, right? It's like some of us can enjoy the pain and most people don't. And if you think you have safety and security within, in a business environment, that's not going to happen. We take the pain and make sure our employees are safe. They get the salaries, but we cut corners for ourselves. Sometimes we splurge. And that's a mindset that not everybody has. And now the Indian ecosystem is more about shortcuts. I think our education system, people can cheat through their exams and get through. So hacking is a mentality people have. And we want to not do the hard work and jump to conclusions. So majority of startups are that, right? It's I have an idea, now I'm going to get a funding, and then I'm going to buy a car with that money and whatnot. That's one aspect. But then there are true entrepreneurs also, and more so, given the technology and the enablement. Geo is in tier 2, tier 3 cities. People have a smartphone and they have an idea and they're able to make money. Just to give an example, one guy, we were doing a mentorship session. I saw his roof. It was thatched roof. It was actually a mud house.
Okay.
And he had a smartphone with which he was doing Zoom call with me. And he was asking me, he's like, sir, I'm a son of a farmer. We have a farm and I want to know if I can do something like Big Basket. Do I need crores and crores of rupees? And I told him, look, you create a WhatsApp group of people like myself. I'll be your first customer, right? People myself who want organic vegetables. And every Sunday you come to Calcutta, You deliver your vegetables, you have that WhatsApp group, let people order you, let them pay you first, you go back, again next week you come. And he's doing that in a sustainable business.
Okay.
A guy from a mud house, his father doesn't make more than a few thousand rupees, he's making far more than his father and growing. So those are real stories. It's not just Zomato and IPO and all the unicorns. Okay. There are small level startups that are coming up using existing technology, not apps and websites, and doing well. We're evolving. India is evolving, and this is a new way of doing work. The gig economy. One guy, he was working in Swiggy, and I asked, how much do you make in a day? It's like 3,000 rupees sometimes. Like how? Oh, because I do Swiggy in the morning, in the afternoon driving Uber, at night I'm doing graphic design on freelancer website, and I get $25 an hour for that, and I'm making 3,000 rupees a day, 90,000 rupees a month. That's more than an engineer, and he's not even past class 12. So gig economy. So there are a lot of ways people have figured out. I think smart people with smartphones are able to make money. Smart people with smartphones are becoming dumber also, and just watching comedy shows and this and that. So it depends on who we are and how we use this technology. But yeah, India is growing overall. In the pandemic, we have seen, yes, people have lost jobs, but the economy is thriving, the stock market is growing. Where is the money coming from? Obviously, something right is happening. But some people are getting irrelevant, the 50s, if they are not getting the skills in order, they're going to be irrelevant.
Right. Bhagavad Gita is termed as the biggest management books. Okay, so our Honorable Prime Minister also gives a lot of emphasis on Bhagavad Gita, and we have seen so many international successful people also who have read Bhagavad Gita, and personally it is very useful. So what advice will you give to entrepreneurs that is it really a management book which can help us teach how to manage our life, how to manage our businesses?
Bhagavad Gita is an all-purpose how-to manual, and every CEO that I have met in the US have read the Bhagavad Gita.
That's interesting.
Every CEO I've met in India, they're like, I want to, right? They have the intention, but it's not there yet, because it's not an inheritance. We know it. Grandmother reads it, grandfather reads. What's the big deal about it, right? But at least I know you and I both have applied principles from Bhagavad Gita, and just to give few examples, one is mind management. As an entrepreneur, it's very easy to get angry, but we cannot afford to get angry with our customers, with our investors, right? Chapter 2, text 61-62, Krishna is talking about anger management. Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Krishna tells us there are 3 kinds of modes. If we understand that, if we can identify that, we know who is motivated by what. So employees, who can be motivated in what way, what combination of the 3 modes they are in. So like that, there are so many things that we can learn from Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is telling Arjuna, and apply that in life as well as business. So absolutely. In fact, one venture capitalist in Delhi only, I asked him, you're a billionaire, what books have you read? Please tell me. It's like one book, Bhagavad Gita. I don't need to read any other books. I was like, really? It's like, yeah. Because every other book you show me, I'll tell you where in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says about this.
Perfect.
And I couldn't agree more. So one of the things that artificial intelligence does for us is it really understands what induces dopamine in the brain.
Okay.
And so there was an experiment that was done to a rat, right? There were electrodes put in his head, and every time it turned on a switch, it would get hit in the places where dopamine would be, it'd come out, so to feel happiness, right? Okay. So it kept on hitting that switch, not take care of his baby, not eat, not sleep. It became shriveled to a skeleton, but it kept on hitting that switch. And that's exactly what we do. Netflix says our only competitor is sleep. And sleepless people can be very dangerous. So what's happening is artificial intelligence, as much as it is, we see what we want, but we get so addicted with the dopamine rush that it's ruining our personal lives. It's ruining our productivity. And Bhagavad Gita is a book that teaches us self-control, mind control to sense control. And just like a video game controller is required to control the video game, the brakes on the car, the steering wheel of the car is required to control the car. We also need to control our lives. Otherwise, it'll crash into a tree and life's over. So the spirituality aspect is about control, getting control back in our lives. Most of us, no matter how empowered we think we are, we've given the remote control of our life to somebody else's hands, right? Bhagavad Gita kind of gives it back to us.
Whatever is going in my life, so that's what I read and I understand and get a solution for that.
It's actually a very common thing. Many people have said that if you're going through a dilemma, open the Bhagavad Gita to a random page, and almost exactly the problem you're dealing with, that gets answered. One thing I would add, like to Harish's point, that how can we help ourselves from this addiction? So rules and regulations are a part of a life that helps us. Although in today's world we want freedom, and we're like, religion is all about rules and regulations. We don't want. But if you go to office, there are rules: what you wear, how long you work, when you have lunch, and all of that. And that allows us to work in a functional way. So similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita also says 8 hours sattvic, 8 hours rajasic, 8 hours tamasic. So we know when to work, when to worship, when to sleep. And if we go with these principles, we know when to watch Netflix, when not to watch Netflix, when to work and when not to work. We don't bring work home. And that allows us to control our lives and thereby achieve what we want to achieve. Otherwise, life is going everywhere. We're very busy going sideways, not going forward.
I know that you mentored a lot of people and I have been one of them. So of course, if we have some mentor who has been through that path, so it helps us it helps us a lot in our life.
Yeah, I have experienced that personally, having wonderful mentors, spiritually as well as business. 1 5-minute call saves me 6 months of trouble, right? I was going to China for the first time to build a product as a 19-year-old. I had no clue how to deal with Chinese manufacturers. This gentleman named Joe Bourne, he's worked with 40 years in a Chinese manufacturer. Okay. I said, Joe, help me out. What should I look for? And he said, you should ask these questions. Look at these quality assurance things, and these are the things you should look for. I tell you, Prabhu, as a 19-year-old, when I went to meet the CEO who has 40,000 employees, 21 years of experience, and he saw it at 19, he was like, where is Mr. Roy? I'm like, that's me. I'm like, I thought you'd be older. You're like my daughter's age. But he, after talking to me, was like, how do you know these things? I'm very impressed by you. And he was so impressed, he did the first 1,000 runs even before I paid him.
Oh.
Because the questions that I asked gave him the impression that although he's 19 years old, he knows what he's doing and I can bet on him and he will give me return on investment, which he did. So the point is, that's what the role for man. Nobody knows Joe, but what I got from him that allowed me to build that trust, that allowed me to save money and get that first hit in the market. So many such stories, but yeah, definitely a role of a mentor, somebody you trust, somebody who doesn't judge you, somebody who is where you want to be and who has been where you are, is a key aspect of anybody's success story. First is team. The right people make the right business. Average idea, amazing team, you're highly likely to succeed because dynamically they'll figure out a way to make the average idea into something that's sellable. To do. Next one would be product market fit. So what the market wants and is willing to pay for and will be willing to pay for 3 years from now. Understanding that pain point and building something, because if it is a need of the market, and correct me if I'm wrong, even if it is imperfect, people will pay for it because the need is so strong. But if it's a want, it's nice to have, then people are thinking twice. Like you're a CA, you're a need. Us, we business people, we need you. But let's say for watching a Shah Rukh Khan movie, it's a want. It's a nice to have. If they miss it out, not a big deal. But if they miss tax payment, government will come after them. Number 3 is to-dos, systems. Systems help, because then what happens, when things fall in place, everybody knows what they're supposed to do and things move, right? And you can think more creatively about expansion rather than day-to-day fires. 2 from your side?
Yeah. So as a business owner, we generally focus on three things. One is the systems, like you mentioned. So systems should be sustainable and it should be simple so that people can follow, and it should be long lasting. So it will give compounded results over the time, and
I'll pause you for a second. Sustainable and simple, that's a very important aspect. I'll just give a short story here. A friend of mine has a 100 crore business. He assembles and sells India made laptops. Simple, right? So what he doesn't use project management software. He uses Google spreadsheets, right? Google Sheets. And every day, all the tasks, he just writes it and he assigns it to people on the sheet. People come to office, they see their name, they see the work they have to do, they get it done. He's running a 100 crore company using Google Sheets. Right? So simple. That's a very important statement.
Yeah, so that's what generally we also do at Starter CFO, that using Google spreadsheets, we enable businesses, right? The second is the strategies. So if we talk about sales, just to give you an example, so its strategy can be increasing the number of leads, but there are different strategies, how to increase a conversion ratio. Out of those conversion ratio, how to increase the revenue per client, or how to increase our walk-ins, basically. So we should have focus as a business owner. We should focus on building strategies, and strategies should be there for our sales, for our marketing, for our operations, for our HR, for our R&D department, our finance thing. Our entire thing should be, as a business owner,
but even within that strategy, Prabhu, wouldn't you agree that you have to enforce the strategy? Because you can have the strategy, but how do you know people are following it?
Yeah, so for that we need to have systems in place.
And KPIs, key performance indicators. Yeah. So everybody is accountable that this is what I have to do. Yeah. Because you have to make it dumb friendly. Not everybody is creative, especially employees. They need to be told that this is how I judge your success criteria. This is how you get bonus. Don't come crying to me at the end of the year that you're not getting a bonus, because I'm telling you, this is what you need to do. This is how much the company needs to make, and thus this is your success. And so yes, the strategies, but also execution and making sure that people are doing what they need to do.
Yes, so that's the third part of it, that as a business owner, you should focus on your resources, your human resources. So you should take care of them, you should train them, and you should make a systems around that they should know that what is my KPIs, what is my KRAs, and there should be a review system around it, wherein in a simple 5 minutes meeting, they should know that what percentage of their work they are accomplishing and what they have to do.
Absolutely. I'll just give an example. One of our incubates, they made, during the pandemic, they started from zero. They went to 8 lakhs a month, and they had around 25 lakhs of cash, right? And then after almost a year or delayed, no GST file, no taxes file, no compliance done, and they're making money. They come to me, I think I need to pay taxes, don't you think? I'm like, yeah, you're running a business. And then I was like, Abhishek, help this guy out. Turns out you have to pay like some, the dues would have been like 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs. But he's an expert, so Abhishek helped him save all that money. And I think within 2 lakhs, he was able to get that out. So many, penalties and whatnot. So young people don't know, he's only 20 years old, making a lot of money. And later on came to Abhishek. So very important, the finances and compliance and law, because people think business is about product development, marketing, sales, done, right? It's not.